All right, folks, so the phrase demography as destiny is attributed to French philosopher, also the famed father of sociology, Auguste Comte. And essentially it means that you need to have a growing population to have a growing economy. With that in mind, take a look at this. This is the birth rate of United States. And I got to tell you, if the statement, either that statement Auguste made is a lie or this is going to catch up to us later. I happen to believe it's the latter. It will catch up to us later. So the question, of course, is can or will Gen Z come to the rescue? I want to bring in now New York Post columnist Ricky Schlott. All right, Ricky. The 65 and older crowd will be 37% of our population come 2040. We need you guys to come to the rescue.
Yeah, I don't have too much faith in us, unfortunately. I mean, statistically speaking, the majority of young people who are childless right now, 56% say that they just simply don't want children. It's not even that it's a factor of circumstance. And I hear frequently from my friends, they're worried about bringing kids into a dying planet and a climate catastrophe or the state of the world right now. And so I think it's even a little bit more ideological with young people.
30% drop in the birth rate in the last 15 years is something to be alarmed about. But notice what the young lady said. She's got all these friends that complain about all of these different things within society. This is what happens when you create a fear-based victimhood environment that you promote the young people to dwell in. Because although we are the most abundant when it comes to society today in regards to shelter and to food, while at the same time having a lower crime rate than earlier in history, but yet the Gen Zers still think that we're in calamity. Thus, I don't want to bring a child into this type of world. Couple that with this being the age of information, or more negatively, the age of distraction. Distracted via relationships via the hub, distracted via doom scrolling on your social media app of choice, overconsumption of video games mixed with the availability of short forms of content that can substitute for relationships, such as OnlyFans. We should all be very concerned. Let's continue.
A professor in Japan. Now, Japan has always been ahead of us on this sort of social media, internet kind of stuff, and these
birth rate is dropping.
These games where you become the person in the game. So he came up with a phrase called grass eaters. Essentially, it was the young men there rejected their parents. Their parents were proud. They would work for the same company for 50 years. They would do a 2-hour commute both ways. And they were really proud of that. Instead, these kids, they slept all day. They played video games all night. They immersed themselves into this world.
What I'm saying.
Their population is going to go from 120 million people to 80 million people. And about 50% of them said they have no interest in sex at all. The reason I bring that up is you wrote a pretty provocative article. It's called "When It Comes to Sex, My Generation is Screwed." I mean, is this a similar situation?
Yeah, I mean, I think that one thing that we have here that's even worse is our partisan politics situation, where we know that boys are going to the right and women are going to the left. And increasingly, they're saying that they refuse to date someone on the other side of the aisle. So more than half of women say that being a conservative is a red flag. More than half say listening to Joe Rogan is a red flag. And so I think we're kind of headed towards a demographical disaster if we can't bridge the divide, at least putting politics on the back burner for romance.
How do you put it on the backside? How do you put it on the side when it's everywhere? I mean, it's, you know, it's hard to find any part of the society, TV commercials, television shows, articles, books are being rewritten and re-edited in certain ways. How do you put it aside when it feels like who's ever pulling the strings actually trying to make it worse?
You're asking her an incredible question, and I'm really interested in her answer. But real quick, he referenced Japan. If you Google Japan right now, they have a consistently declining birth rate year over year. So when he references Japan, he's talking about it in terms of their technology being so far ahead of the technology of the United States. So because we're on that technological trajectory with all of these grass eaters, should we be concerned?
Well, I mean, that's why I think that we're really in a tough spot, young people. I mean, I, as a libertarian young woman, I'm often told, like, oh, it's a breath of fresh air because you're not going to be offended by everything that I say.
So are you kind of in the middle, like you're in a lonely island almost, aren't you?
Well,
notice she didn't really answer the question. She just said we're in a tough spot, which to her credit, I don't know how she was going to answer this question. It's like asking someone on the spot, like, how do you cure world hunger? But women are generally going to the left because they love their feelings to be tickled, while men are generally, masculine men are generally going right because they love their logic to be tickled. But the difference is that men control access to relationships. Women are not getting on bended knee. Men are. So if modern day women today are in droves, completely ignoring a masculine man's conservative nature when it comes to dating and relationships, then how can we expect anything to change? That's why content that continues to put men's thoughts, feelings, and ideologies up on a pedestal is so important, because it forces women to get out of their syndicated talk show echo chambers to understand a man's perspective. Like, how dare you try to tell me that body count doesn't matter, and at the same time you're trying to get married and wear white on your wedding day. White means virgin, or something close to it. Your slut walk ass should be wearing fire red, direct from Satan's lair. Let's keep going.
Yeah, I mean, I think the outgroup dissenters are sort of the most valuable commodities. I know a lot of young men who play up their woke positions in order to get women, and they say that it's been pretty effective, actually.
You know, there was an old saying, and
they walk at the feminist rallies. Shout out to 21 Savage.
I would think it still applies that when you're young and you don't have a heart, like it goes something to the fact that when you're young and you're not liberal, then you don't have a heart. Yeah. When you're older and you're not conservative, you don't have a brain.
Yeah.
I mean, could it just be that same thing going on? Is it something deeper?
I think that the crazier part is that we just know that young people are forking. So it's less a factor of age. We know that the boys are going right. And the girls are going left.
Is that because the young men feel hopeless? I mean, this is a society that's been trying to rewrite the fact that women make less than men, and it feels like the push has been to give women a push. And it's come at the expense of
overcorrection.
Young men. A lot of young men, I think, definitely feel like the girl power stuff is disproportionate and that boys are disenfranchised in society today. I would also say that I think the left right now really panders to some more female proclivities to be more empathetic and emotional and want to protect people and do the right thing and be charitable. And so I do think that there is almost a feminization of the left wing.
So I think I've got...
Ooh, feminization of the left wing. I like that term. She nailed it. Masculine men are not messing with the dirty agenda of the left. If I had a son, he ain't wearing no damn nail polish. Irrespective of how you think that your young son should be demonstrating himself based off of your progressive feeling of the world.
Good news for you.
Okay.
A new app is on the way. Are you ready for it?
I am ready for it.
All right. This app starts with it scores your here we go. This is your score, your dating app for people with good credit. So at the very least, you're getting a 675 on up. I mean, would that help?
I'm not sure about this one. I mean, I think it's an interesting conversation starter, but I think if you're filtering particularly for financial reasons, it might be a little transactional for my taste.
Really?
I disagree with you right here, my dear. Taking a look at a person's credit score is not making a relationship transactional based off of financial reasons. A credit score is an indicator of a person's responsibility or reliability when it comes to money, right? Because the score is correlated to how often that you've made on-time payments from an institution that gave you money. Let me try to break it down for you in simpler terms. I just got a haircut yesterday, right? Haircut looking smooth, right? As I was getting a haircut, a young barber walked in next to where my barber was and went into his refrigerator and picked up one of the snacks that my barber sells. My barber says to him, "Hey, bro, you just came in here last week and picked up 6 drinks and you never gave me money for it." The barber that came in responded, "Oh, I thought that I did." My barber was like, "No, you didn't." So then the guy pretends to act like he forgot to pay, and he says, "I'll be back in a little bit with your cash." Within the next hour that I was at the barber shop, that guy never came back. That guy is not reliable. And I'd argue that reliability is a fantastic trait for healthy long-term relationships.
I mean, isn't one of the big mistakes is people don't have honest conversations about finance, or when it comes to young folks, it's still about
the first
magnetism.
Date, though,
yeah.
I don't know if you're building your credit, if you forgot one bill, but you're headed back on the right track. I don't want to just filter you out for that reason.
Demographics as destiny. Are we right now? It feels almost like we're not going to catch up. I mean, is it possible to ever have another baby boom?
I don't know. I mean, I do think that there's like a small subgroup of Gen Zers who are starting to come around and realize that like a traditional family life is valuable.
I saw something the other day where women, young ladies at high school, at college graduation, were all wearing engagement rings. I mean,
I think there's a little revival of some traditional values, but I would say by and large, my generation is more skeptical, even if it's a financial element as well too. I mean, don't underestimate how many young people are just underwater with student loans that they can't pay back too, and $250,000.
You can still get married. You can still have kids.
$250,000 to raise the average kid up to 18 today. I mean, it is crazy. So I think that there's a whole host of reasons, and I'm not too optimistic.
I will tell you, having a daughter is the reason I succeeded on Wall Street. I was cold calling, 100% commission. I would have quit if it was not for me having a baby.
Wow.
So that made me successful. Ricky, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
What he said right there, I think, is interesting. You know, it sounds as if family was created, which promoted him to try to make more money, which is actually the opposite way that I think about things. I think because I don't have a family right now, this is my money-making years. But when I have a family later, I'll have a lot more time to spend with them because I worked so hard while I was single to be able to provide a life for them that would have stressed me the hell out if I had to do both at the same time. Business building, entrepreneurship while having a family. Nevertheless, shout out to Fox Business Live that this comes from. I'll leave a link to this video down in the description box down below if you guys want to see it without my commentary. I really do enjoy discussions like this, future-based discussions, because taking a look at kind of what decisions are we currently making today, or what is the landscape today, and then what is the lagging indicators to determine if the way that we're living today is substantive or valuable to the outcomes that we're looking for tomorrow. Questions, comments, concerns. Y'all already know what to do. MediocreTourismReviews@gmail.com. Guys, let me know your comments down below, and I will see you soon. Until next time, YouTube. Peace.